We've been through things that should have broken us: trauma, loss, hardship, the kind that leaves a mark. But it also left something else, something most people spend their whole lives trying to find. I'm Misty Carson, and it's time we stop surviving and start building with it. This is the Unbreakable Advantage.
Our guest today is Chasity Vanatter. Chasity grew up in a tiny town in Louisiana with one red light, no hospital, and a childhood she genuinely loved. Until she was 27 years old and her own mind began returning memories she did not know she was carrying. What she discovered did not just change her past, it rewrote her understanding of who she is. Today, Chasity is a mother, an advocate for the Manatee Children's Services, and one of the most quietly powerful women I've ever met. She has rebuilt her life from the ground up, questioned every belief she was handed, and arrived at love as the answer underneath of it all. She's here to show you that your story does not have to end where your hardest chapter began, and that the way it continues is entirely yours to decide. Chasity, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so excited. I love that we met each other through a mutual connection in the Sarasota area. So shout out to Three Bridges.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. This is crazy now.
It is. It's so interesting how life just leads you down these paths and you don't even realize that this is what's going to be happening.
Yeah.
But I love when people meet someone and they're like, you have to know this person.
Yeah, like you guys would totally hit it off. And they were right.
They were so right. Yeah. It's been wonderful. So I want to help get you introduced. So for anyone who's not met you yet, tell the listener who you are and what you're building right now.
Well, my name is Chasity. I currently work for a nonprofit that supports children going through abuse and traumatic types of situations. And that itself is very near and dear to my heart because my own childhood was very traumatic once it finally made its way back into my memory banks.
Mm-hmm.
So moving forward in ways that help kids that 100% would have helped me is where I'm at, where my passion lies.
Yes. There's something so beautiful about taking all your pain and giving it purpose. And I know that that's a big calling and a big reason why you chose to do the work that you do.
Mm-hmm.
So, and people who haven't been through those things can't connect with people who are going through it the same way.
Yeah.
It's hard when you haven't experienced.
Yeah, there are certain things that you don't understand unless you've lived it, like the hypervigilance or the sensitivities that some of these kids have in the middle of these situations that it takes somebody that's been through it to really understand and wrap their arms around them.
Yes, hypervigilance. I love that word. For me, I feel the same. It's always this constant state of fight, flight, or freeze.
Mm-hmm.
So you're constantly scanning for threats to see what's going to happen, who's going to hurt you, what's going to, like, is the shoe going to drop? Is this going to be taken away from me? It's hard when you're always living in that heightened state for people who haven't moved through the world that way to understand what that constant state of anxiety feels like.
It's really tiring. I feel like we deal with a lot more fatigue, and part of it is because our nervous systems are always on point. They are always scanning, considering, thinking, looking ahead, trying to predict is one of the worst ones.
Yes.
But yeah.
And then, unfortunately, it tries to predict things based on everything we've been through, and that's not the norm. But in our brains, it's like, well, of course, that's the norm. Like, all of these people are going to do all of these things to you, and that can make it really difficult, too. So I have all of my guests fill out a form because I want to know their stories more intimately. You and I had already known each other's stories, and thank you so much for writing your story in my book. I'm very excited about that. But you wrote something that I've not been able to stop thinking about. You said, I walk into rooms as warmth. And there is, I just got the chills. There is something so beautiful about that juxtaposition from where you came from and what you decide how you're going to move through the world now. So where did that decision come from?
That decision came from needing it. I really, so a lot of my childhood was really difficult. And Louisiana isn't like a very cold place to grow up. But the winters where I grew up were really harsh because we did not have central heat or air or anything like that. Mm-hmm. It was just what it was. We would turn on the stove and my mom would open it and I would go stand in front of it and like waft some heat every once in a while. So I was very cold. growing up. I was always cold. I always felt like I needed something warm wrapped around me.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't just physical, it was everything that I was going through.
Mm-hmm.
So every chance that I get to make someone stay, I do. Because when we're moving through life and we are hypervigilant, or we are, we are just moving and not thinking and doing our daily, sometimes one random person gives you a compliment and that compliment carries you for weeks.
Yes, it does.
We hold that power in every interaction we have. So I try to provide that to people as much as I can, because that little bit of warmth can really just keep you moving.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I love where it came from too. It's so purposeful what you're choosing. And I 1,000% agree with you. You never know what's running underneath the surface of someone's life. And being kind and being a good human, I completely agree, can carry people through weeks or months. It might be the only kind thing that they have heard or seen in a while.
Exactly.
And maybe not even for a while still to come.
Exactly.
So really appreciate that. So you grew up in a tiny town in Louisiana with one red light. You and I talked about this because I also grew up in the middle of frigging podunk nowhere. So no hospital, no Walmart.
Yeah.
You mentioned no central air, no real TV. I feel you there, girl. And then paint that childhood for us. What did you love about it? Because you said you loved your childhood.
I did. I loved it. It was really raw, if anything, because there was no cushion around. There was no TV really to watch. I got SpongeBob every once in a while. Best thing in the world.
Yes.
So there was no TV. There was no group of kids. There's no Sonic for everybody to go park at. There's literally not even that many children in the town to begin with, so much so that like all of them are gathered together at church on Sundays, and that's like all the kids in the town.
Yeah.
So it just it's a lot.
Yeah, I completely resonate with everything that you're saying. So I grew up in the middle of nowhere as well, trees and fields and farm fields and everything everywhere. 30 minutes to the grocery store, everybody hanging out in the woods, and also not a lot of children in the school. Everybody knew each other's families. They've been there for generations. They all knew your crap, and you couldn't even skip school because somebody's calling your parents and telling them like what's going on, right? Everybody knows everybody's stuff. And there's something really beautiful about that, and also something so strangulating about that at the same time.
It's also something very eerie about it, because everybody knows all the bad things that are going on, yet no one speaks.
Yes. It's so interesting that you say that, because one of the things I wrote is I needed to get away from where everyone had a preconceived notion about my life, because it was the same faces in the grocery aisle all the decades I've ever been born. And I couldn't escape my poverty. I couldn't escape my teen pregnancy. I couldn't escape my abuse, because that's all they saw when they looked at me. And I didn't want to be those things. I didn't want to be defined by those moments. And so sometimes you have to literally leave.
Move yourself.
Yes, to have a new life. And then you get to start over, and nobody knows those things about you. So now you can be authentic and allow whatever naturally flows to you flow. Yeah, and that can be really difficult as well. So most people on the show know exactly what shaped them, but your story is really different. You did not know your own story until you were 27 years old. Take us into that.
Yeah. So my upbringing, I thought, was generally, impoverished, which I didn't think as a problem, because as a kid, when you grow up, you think that everyone's home life is the normal home life. You think that every family operates the way that your family operates, etc. So I grew up really mentally really well, because I had a mama and a papa that instilled a lot of really great values into me at a young age. I was very appreciative of everything I had. I didn't take anything for granted. I taught myself how to stretch my meals out when I ate so that it would, I was happy to be where I was, as much as it sucked to be where I was. So that was like a big part of it for me.
So when you were fast forward and then you find out, or you realize that
it's not what it was.
It's not what it was.
Yeah. So I had a good childhood, and then like leading up into when everything really started to go down, it was like my 12th birthday, and it was a week before school ended, and I got the chance to go stay in Mississippi with my aunt, who was my best friend, one of my absolute saviors. She's still an angel to me to this day. She let me go stay with her for the week, and I never went home. I never got a chance to go back to go get any of my things or say goodbye or anything, because when I left, they had a big tumultuous fight, a big moment, and they decided that they were going to split. So everything was just decided for me at that point, and then the bomb was dropped on me by my aunt. She took me in the living room and told me that my parents aren't going to stay together. My mom's on drugs, and I laughed at her because not even a month prior, I was reading my DARE essay in front of like the governor because I'd won an award for it.
Oh my God.
So I was like, there's no way this woman's on drugs. Like, I just did like, you're crazy. And then that kind of like pushed me through middle school, high school. Like, I was kind of like in disbelief, but in belief at the same time. Like, it made sense, but it still didn't really impact me because those memories hadn't made their way back yet. So I got to live a pretty normal-ish life considering all things. Had some more trauma. My high school sweetheart was killed in a car wreck the day after he kissed me on the cheek for the first time. And I had like really big anxiety, and lots of stuff started coming up in adolescence. Like, I started anxiety medicine when I was in 8th grade. So lots of really weird unanswered things happened. And then like fast forward, I was married. We moved down here. I started trying to get more and more treatment for like night terrors and stuff like that, because I don't understand why I've got all these problems, blah, blah, blah. And then the memories really just start coming back and hitting me. I got a sedative to try to help with the night terrors and being able to sleep and stuff like that. And my brain being back in a sedative type state brought back a lot of the memories.
So you wrote that the memories did not come back clearly. They came in fragments, like looking through warped glass that would not stay still. What is it like to discover in adulthood that the childhood you loved was not what you thought it was?
Heartbreaking, especially because at the time I'm a few years into motherhood for the first time myself, and I see the stark differences between my son's childhood and the memories that I have of my childhood. I had hunger pains and issues with being cold or being not clean, you know, and these are never problems that I've ever once had with my son, because I love my son. I'm a really good mom. I stay on top of everything that I can for him. And it just really made me incredibly sad for her that she didn't get to experience it the way that I'm getting to experience it with my son, and that she took away what a fantastic relationship could have been.
Yeah, I completely appreciate that. The way I move through life with my children is so vastly different than the way that my parents moved through life with me. And I feel like it's usually one of two ways. You either are a repeat, like a pattern of what you experienced, or you decide, hell no, I'm not doing any of those things. And I don't really feel like there's a lot of middle ground for somebody who's been hurt in that way.
There's not, and it's really frustrating because you can see people that have been down similar paths. Like I have someone in a similar situation, or, you know, that has a similar background like I do, and I see the path that is being taken, and I see that they are just not aware that they're putting themselves right back into that same cycle.
Yeah, you have to pay attention. And once you start to realize it, you have to be brave enough to do something about it.
Yeah, you have to be able to say no and like stop yourself. And part of that is like emotional maturity. Like a lot of people don't understand how to change your thought process. Like that's a really big thing, and it's a lot of work and a lot of self-discovery to get there, but you can change your thoughts. Like people that have, or I have really big anxiety, and I would have anxiety attacks driving to school and in high school. And it would be because I would pass something and I would see something and it would trigger me. And I had a breakdown one day at school, and I was sent to the guidance counselor, and she told me something that absolutely changed my life. I told her, I was like, I can't stop crying. Every time I see this, it just tears me apart. And she said, stop looking.
Oh, I mean, it's your choice to look.
It was my choice
I
to
just got the
look.
chills again, yeah.
And it's also my choice to put up a blinder if I need to.
That's right. Oh my God, I literally have chills all over my body.
That changed my life
Yeah.
in high school, because I learned that I don't have to look. If I'm in the middle of spiraling and I'm home and I'm alone and I'm crying and I'm upset and I'm thinking about all of these things that make me more upset, it's my responsibility in that moment to change where I'm at, to go, this isn't where my brain needs to be. This is not productive, and to change it.
It does take practice.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot of practice. And I was just on with David before you, and we did talk about that a little bit as well, is that at first when you start doing it, it's really uncomfortable and doesn't feel like it's working because it doesn't feel familiar. Because there's something about that trauma that feels like an old shoe that fits your foot just right.
Yes, yeah, that you feel like continuing the way you've been is the right way to do things.
Yes.
Like changing, this isn't right.
Right.
This isn't how I'm supposed to be right now. I'm supposed to be a mess on the floor. I'm not supposed to be thinking about the tree behind you, because that's where my eyes went and that's where I'm going to let my brain go.
Yes, 100%. And there is something so familiar and comfortable about the pain as well, because it's what you've been conditioned.
You're used to it.
Yes, to expect and accept.
It's not unknown.
So when things feel healthy, they feel
Scary.
terrifying. And sometimes, to be honest, I mean, let's just be real vulnerable here, they feel boring. Like, because
yeah.
and yeah, so, and not because we want them to be.
No, because that's what we're used to. When you're used to so much turmoil,
Yes,
easy waters just put you to sleep.
yes. So you got to figure out how to have that excitement or that passion without going all the way over to the trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult. So you said, again, that you had loved your childhood, and then you learned you had to hold two truths at the same time.
Yeah.
That you loved it, but also something terrible happened inside of it.
Yeah.
So how did you learn how to carry both? And do you mind sharing what it was that came bubbling back up to the surface?
No, I don't mind. So my mom loved drugs. Didn't really matter what it was. Her favorite was meth, of course, but outside of that didn't really matter. And we lived in a very rural, out in the middle of nowhere area, and meth and all of that stuff was really big. And so part of that is that when they're cooking and stuff like that, there's different houses like spread out throughout the community, trap houses. And the moms or the parents that had kids and stuff would all get together at the trap houses, and the kids basically would all have like a room somewhere where there'd be like a TV on the floor or something to like distract us, and we'd all hang out and have fun, and we thought it was like a play date. Well, the grown-ups were in the back doing the grown-up things that they came to do. And I started going to those from a very young age with her. I'm pretty sure I wasn't even crawling the first time we did stuff like that together. But she took me with her, and I continued to get older and develop and get cuter. And I had big eyes, and I had big lips that I had to grow into. And I got more desirable. So she herself was absolutely selling herself for drugs, for whatever she could get. She sold our food stamps. She sold anything she could get her hands on. And then she started selling me. She would take me with her, and it would be a similar situation where I would be with the kids, and then I wasn't with the kids anymore.
You said a couple things I just want to touch on, because I want to just wrap my arms around you right now. You said that you talked about the way that you looked and that you became more desirable, and I want to just say that I'm sorry that you feel that way, and that is such a hurtful and painful thing. I'm going to cry. I'm sorry. Because I had sexual trauma too, but it's fucking bullshit. that you even have to think that you had anything to do with it just because you're beautiful.
Yeah.
Because what they did was wrong and what your mom did was wrong. And you could have looked like insert any person's face and she still would have done it. And that you shouldn't have to blame yourself for being beautiful like that.
I think that's been a big problem for me. I never, ever found myself as attractive. Like, still to this day, I have big problems with it because part of it is I don't want it to connect back to that.
Yeah. It's bullshit. So we're going to work on that as friends. So I'm going to make that my mission because, and anybody out there who's listening right now who says to themselves that you shouldn't have looked a certain way, or you shouldn't have worn a certain thing, or you shouldn't have showed up at that spot in the way that you did. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit.
I agree. And thank you for clocking me on that.
Yes.
Actually, I need to, that's something that should be worked on.
Yeah. No one is allowed to touch you. No one is allowed to take you. No one is allowed to do anything to you without your consent and permission. And nothing that anyone does to you is your fault. Just FYI. So when the memory surfaced, the person you thought would stand beside you could not. You use a word that, again, I just keep getting the chills. My word is not this. My word is damaged. You said people called you ruined. What did that word do to you, and how did you eventually answer it?
That word did a lot to me because my name is Chasity. Chastity is based in purity.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on all the things that are supposed to be good and,
Mm-hmm.
So I embodied that a lot. I grew up and I was a very good girl. I was a very good kid. You can ask any family member and they will tell you that I was the perfect child. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. You tell me to do something, I do it right away. I was very obedient. I was very everything that they needed. I didn't skip school. I got straight A's and straight B's. I didn't sneak out. I still to this day have never smoked a cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I followed the rules like I was supposed to. What was the question again?
That people said that they called you ruined, and what did that word do to you?
Yeah, so I took all of that very seriously. It was who I was good. I did things the right way, all the things. So to have people say that I was ruined, it really, really sucked because I took seriously my virtue and the things that I stood for and that I was a good person. And when everything came up and the word ruined was thrown at me, I felt ruined. I felt like I was this clean slate and now there's a huge blip. Now there's this gaping hole, honestly. So it was really rough for me.
I can imagine. I had shared with you when we had met for lunch that my word is not ruined, my word was damaged. And I still carry that, and I carry like, who is this trailer park girl, right? That gets to have these things or gets to live that life. And it's society telling us, and even our loved ones saying those things to us, right? And then it's worse when it's them and saying that this is how you should see yourself. Like, what do you mean you think there's nothing wrong with you? And I, again, am going to throw the bullshit card and say that you are chastity defined. You walk with light and beauty and grace. And those were not choices. Those were things that happened to you. There is a very big difference between choosing and then having something thrust upon you. So we're going to learn to let it go together, girl. Hand in hand. So you went through a divorce, lost almost everything but your son. You were alone in a state far away from home, navigating complex PTSD for the first time in a real way. You wrote that you slept with a pillow next to you with your grandmother's picture on it. Who was your grandmother to you, and what did she give you in that season, even though she wasn't physically here?
My mama I've talked about her. I will continue to talk about her. She was an angel. Her and my papa and that entire family for me was saving grace. Mama taught me how to cook. taught me how to make biscuits, taught me how to sew, taught me how to kind of sing. Um, she was not the best. She could never take a picture either, so I can't put that on her. But she would call the school and see how behind my stuff was and pay it up for me so that I could eat. She would take me to the mission center and help me find clothes because my stuff wasn't fitting. She would give me a bath and let me stay the night or the weekend with her and Pepa in a warm house where there was food, and it was amazing. She was everything to me. And my divorce started right before she passed. My ex-husband was in the room when she passed away, actually. So we were both like really close to her. And being raised Pentecostal, it was very difficult for me to accept that a divorce was acceptable because I was raised very religious, we get married, we don't divorce, blah, 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 blah. So it was really difficult for me. But in the last time that I saw her, I brought her everything and talked to her. And she said that she basically gave me her blessing.
Oh.
And when she gave me that blessing, it was
a release.
It was a release, and it also was just I had held her to such a standard, which I still do, but to break down that wall a little bit made me feel so much better and so much more human and so much more like she would still be there. And that was what pushed me through, because when her picture was on my pillow, it was because I was being threatened.
Yeah.
I was being told that I was not going to get custody and this and that and all kinds of not fun stuff. So I was alone and struggling with it. I was in therapy asking my therapist where I should check myself in at. What's the best place? Because this is getting to a point where it's really not good. And just having her there next to me, it helped with the night terrors, because when all this flares up and things are stressful, the night terrors are horrendous. So it was really helpful for that.
I'm not sure if you have connected these two things, but I would like to share with you an observation that I made from the story that you just shared, and also to share with the listeners. Your grandma, whether you realize it or not, or mama, as you call her, in that moment gave you permission to choose yourself and your needs, when your whole life you were told that you didn't get to decide anything that happened with you, your body, your person. She literally gave you permission for the first time, Chasity, to choose
That's
you.
what it felt like. It felt like a shift in power in a way, where she's ascending, she's leaving, so she's going to take off this nice cloak that she had that helped keep me warm, and she's going to give it to me now and let me choose what to do with it.
People who have never been through any sort of sexual trauma or abuse don't understand how difficult it is for you to take ownness of your person, of your body, of your relationships. You are conditioned, especially at those formative years, you're conditioned that everyone gets to just do with you what they please. I likened it once, talking about my uncle, that he was like a squatter in an abandoned house, using it for everything that he could with no regard to its worth or value. And that's how I felt. I felt like the abandoned house. And now, even 47 years old, does not go away, right? I can handle it now, but it's attached itself to every relationship I've had with a man, even a friend, a coworker, how I was with my son. Like, they're all affected in some way.
I have an issue with that too, where I take on a servant role, is what it is. Because I was so used to being the one that was told what to do, that was also responsible for everyone else's emotional weather.
Yeah, that's right.
Because if they weren't happy, it came down on me.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
It made things worse for me. So I have a big issue myself with taking on that caretaker role, but taking it to a level where I stop caring about me and I care about those more than I care about me.
Yes.
But a shift, part of the self-discovery process for the past few years has been putting value back into myself. Because a big part of that itself, when you go through sexual trauma like that, is not feeling like you are you, like you are not responsible for me. I don't care about me. Me is just a vessel. I care about other people.
Yeah.
But part of it is that you kind of have to do at some point is value yourself.
Yeah. Even deeper than that for me personally, it was that for sure. And I also have been a people pleaser, and not so much in my friendships or even with my children. I'm like, no, I'm not like this is my life. I get to do the things, or in my career. But when it comes to significant others, it's like, oh, you want that? And then inside I'm screaming and I'm like, that's not the life I want. Right. But I'm doing it anyways. But even deeper for me is that when you're that young and doing those formative years, and then it goes on for such an extended period of time, and you and I talked about years went by that both of us went through these things, you develop this idea that you won't be lovable unless the other person's getting exactly what they need, even if it's to the expense of what you need and desire. And you want so desperately to be loved and to be wanted. And then usually they give you like one thing you were missing. And a lot of times I would confuse their aggressive or jealous or controlling nature as protection.
As love.
Yes, and protection, because I didn't have that.
Or as value, because they saw value in you, so now we're gonna,
Yes. So I had a really hard time with that, definitely in the beginning. I'm much better. I'm getting better. Yeah, so each time I try, because I want to be loved and I want to love, and everyone has been healthier than the last, but I know that this is...
Yeah, it feels like a progression in a video game. So in Mario, you start at this level and you work your way up to the castle, right?
Yes.
That's how it feels. Like every relationship, after it ends, you say, okay, I liked this.
Yes.
I did not like this.
Yes.
So in the next one, I will avoid this and I will require this.
That's 100% right.
And it just continued. Hey, shout out both single moms right here.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And I probably won't be 80 till I get it right. So whoever's waiting for me in that assisted living, senior living home, I'm coming for you. So
yeah,
100%.
Popping a wheelie on that.
Exactly. And I will be the best love you've ever had.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So you said that healing did not look the way that you expected it to. What did you think the healing was going to look like before? And what does it actually look like for you now?
Healing is a whole monster in itself. It's different for everybody. It's different day to day. So I thought healing was like, we're going to go to therapy. And then that's great. And maybe you'll do some yoga. And you're so much better. Drink some water.
Yeah.
Go work out.
Some green
Everything
juice.
that your man tells you when you say you don't feel good. Did you drink some water? Did you walk outside? Did you you do all the things and you think that like, okay, now it's going to be good. Like that's all there is to it. That's not all there is to it. I had a huge trigger a few years ago. My birthday was rolling around and my kid was like, Mom, your birthday. And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't really care. I don't care. And he's like, why? And I'm like, actually, why? Why don't I like I've always just brushed it off and been like, I really don't want to celebrate my birthday. Like, let's not make a big deal out of it. And I asked myself, why? Like, why? And thinking back, the only memory I have of a birthday party is one from when I was 5 years old. Outside of that, I've never had a birthday party.
Oh.
I've never had a group of friends get together with balloons and throw a party and sing me happy birthday and blow out candles.
Yeah.
So the idea of that happening scared me.
Yeah.
I was so scared to have that much attention on me because I've never experienced it. So asking myself why has been the biggest form of therapy for myself in my day-to-day that helps me practice healing. Because everything that we do a certain way. And it's typically because we learn to do it a certain way. And some of the things that we learn to do a certain way, we learned when we were young and we haven't adjusted those beliefs.
Yeah, I love everything that you're saying, Chasity. I believe a lot of the choices that I make come from that same space. And you don't realize it, that some of it's from it's a trauma response.
Mm-hmm.
And it isn't even all unhealthy. Like the fact that I have to have everything put away or cleaned up, or that my dishes always have to be done. Well, that's a good thing in most people's eyes.
Exactly.
But I don't do it because
it's
like
nice and clean. You do
right,
it because you're scared of the roaches that you used to have on the counter all the time.
Yes. Or getting hit if it's like not
it wasn't
done.
done.
Yeah, 100%. So people don't think about that very much at all. But I really appreciate what you said about getting to the root cause.
Mm-hmm.
I do that a lot. I
As
ask
much as you
myself
can.
why,
Yeah.
especially when I start to feel myself get an emotion about something. I pause and I breathe, and then I say to myself, where is this coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Because, even in my relationships, as I've gotten healthier, I have said, okay, like I am super triggered right now. I don't know why, but I'm going to stop talking to you. And I'm going to go for a walk because I need to figure out where this is coming from.
You got to figure out how to regulate it yourself.
Yes. And where it's coming from. Because I know what you did is not this big of it. Like, this shouldn't be.
Yeah.
This is not the right reaction to this. So something is underneath of that. And I'll come back and we'll have that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So once I know. But right now, I don't know. Like, I have always asked partners to let me process, because I know my brain is immediately like, just run, right? So I'm like, no.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you got to give me a moment to process.
Get away from me.
Yeah, exactly. Like, might stab you. No, just kidding. I won't stab you. I'm not going to prison, nor have I ever been to prison. So I just think it's really important for people to understand that if you choose somebody as a partner who has significant trauma or trauma just in general,
Mm-hmm.
there's got to be some grace and patience there. Just allowing them, not everybody is willing to give you space. They want to talk about it right now. They want to fix it right now. And that just doesn't work for people like
it just depends
me and
on
you.
your person.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm ready to be like, oh, this and that and this and that and then my aunt stabbed that guy and then that makes perfect sense. But then sometimes I'm like,
why? Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
And I have to like sit with it for a minute because I'm like, no, there's no way that's actually how that went down, and that's why I process this way.
Yes, because it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, some things just to think about, no child should ever have to go through.
Mm-hmm.
And there are so many of us. Did you know that a child is sexually abused in the United States every 9 minutes? Every 9 minutes.
And the only thing that came to my mind when you said that is that it's because there's so many closed doors. There's so many private spaces for it to happen.
So many. And it's terrifying to me. We were talking about trafficking. Saturday, I was here doing some solo episode recordings, and RJ, who's recording right now, hey RJ, who's recording right now, we were talking about trafficking. The thing that's even more difficult for me to digest is that there's a market for it in the first place. The fact that there are so many adults,
it's accessible.
Yes, but they take advantage of what's accessible to them without any regard to what it's going. They don't look at these children and us as children, as people, only as a vessel for their pleasure. And I just, in my mind, I can't reconcile the two. That's harder for me to understand, that it's so rampant. Every 9 minutes. That means by the time this podcast is over, at least 6 children, different children, will have been sexually abused.
That's wild to think about.
It's disgusting. And it is not only wild, it's heartbreaking. And this is why we do the work that we do.
Yeah, because unless we continue to talk about it or to bring awareness to it, people aren't going to. The statistic was 90% of kids that are abused don't talk about it.
Yes. Because we build so much shame around it. We say things to people like, you're damaged, you're ruined. We attach these negative
connotations to it.
Yes.
And that's why this work is important, because I'm ruined. I'm whatever you want to say, but I'm right here living a healthy life, raising a beautiful boy, doing good work. And that's all I'm going to continue to do.
Mm-hmm.
And being ruined just puts more fire under my ass, honestly.
Yes.
To talk more about it, because if I'm ruined and I can still do all of these good things, so can all of these other kids, so can all these other people. And if they see more of that versus the negativity attached to it, then maybe things can start to change.
Yes. I going to shift your vernacular a little bit there. Instead of saying, I'm ruined, so I'm going to do these things. If you say, I'm ruined, I'm going to do these things, because you are not ruined, Chastity.
No,
Yes.
yeah.
Not ruined. So we're going to rechange the word so that when your brain hears it, it doesn't think it anymore.
Yeah.
New thoughts,
Yeah.
rewiring. I think it's so important to have these kinds of conversations. This is why I'm doing this. This is why I built this. It's for me too. I mean, I just talked to David. I mean, trauma dumping is a real, I want to get the things out and then let other people know they're not the only ones. And then what can you do with it, right? How do we move through the world better? What does that look like? But the biggest thing for me is, how does that affect us after? No one talks about the head trash or the noise in our own mind. You are constantly arguing with yourself about who you see in the mirror today and what you've accomplished and what the old version of you had to endure, and trying to reconcile the two. And no one talks about that. Right? They don't talk about that you finally got a degree and you're trying to start another job, and then every time you walk into the office, you're wondering if you're going to get fired because some part of you doesn't feel like you deserve or earn this job.
Oh my God. The job that I have right now with the advocacy is incredible. It's like a dream job. And that complex PTSD, that anxiety is always there. I'm always like, oh my God, did I do this enough? Did I do enough of this? Have I done this today? Do I need to? Because I'm so scared that this amazing thing is just going to flip away, because that's the pattern.
Yes.
That has been the pattern of the life for me. Has been, find something amazing, it floats away. Find something else amazing, it gets killed. Find something else amazing, it runs.
Yes. But we need to have this conversation more, because so many of us are carrying that alone, and we're feeling like we're the only ones who think that or feel those things in the room. And then not only have the conversation that it exists, but then what do we do about it?
How can we fix this?
Yes.
How can we reframe the way that we're processing things moving forward so that we don't experience this over and over?
Yes.
Because that's the definition of insanity, right?
Yes.
Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is, I want to keep having conversations like this. For everyone else, I mean, this is a real thing. We know every 9 minutes a kid gets abused. So how many people listening have been sexually abused? The person who was on just before you was sexually abused as a man by one of his mom's boyfriends as a young child. So, and then the threats about not telling and the shame you carry. And then when you do tell, and in my instance, when I told my family, they told me I couldn't tell anybody because I couldn't put my, uncle in jail. So then it was like, that again was a reconfirmation to me that I had very little value. But we need to talk about all this stuff that's floating around that affects how we show up, how we show up to work, how we show up as a mom, how we show up as a neighbor, how we show up as a friend. And then how do we reframe that for all the things it gave us? Because
this
how strong are we?
hypervigilant is such a superpower to me.
Yes.
Such a superpower to me. I had an experience that really made me feel good about it not that long ago, where a friend of mine went through Halloween Horror Nights. And with complex PTSD, I was scared to death that I'm going to get triggered. I was before we went in, I'm tense and I'm nervous and I'm I really don't want to do this. I really don't want to do this. We go through the house and my hypervigilance is pew, pew, pew.
Yes.
And I'm there's somebody there, there's somebody there, there's somebody there, there's somebody there. And I'm having the best time of my life.
Oh,
so
I love
it really just
yes.
It's the way that you use the tools. So we were given these tools that we didn't really need.
Yes.
Now it's time to choose how we get to use them.
100%. So everything that's coming in the book, I talk about all of the skills you gained from your survivor story and what that can unlock for you in the professional world. Because empathy advantage is a huge thing. Huge. You can read somebody, read a room, read a person, understand what the underlying thing is. Presence power. People, when I'm in a room with them, they feel it. They know that I'm giving them my full attention. That's a powerful skill.
It's intimidating. Yeah.
You mentioned a little bit earlier about learning how to stretch your meals and make it work so that you had food all the time. I call that resource optimization. How do you take very limited resources and create something out of what most people would consider nothing because we had to.
Yeah.
But now
there was
we
no
can,
other option.
But think about that in the professional setting. You've got this huge, massive problem. You don't know how you're going to solve it. You're going to come up with 3 ideas before somebody even thinks about one.
Yeah. Very out of the box thinking.
Yes.
Very other views.
Yes. So how can we take what we went through and build with it? And that's the whole thing. That's what I want to do. I want to teach people how to do it. That's why we're here.
Little by little.
Little by little. Tell the story, and then what can you get from it? How can you now use that thing to be the best version of you, to follow the whisper that's calling you?
Like here's your story. These were the forces of evil in your story. Here's all this power that they held. How can we take this power now and use it for us?
Yes. Yes. And for others, our community too. 100%. All right. So you wrote that the turning point came when you stepped into your role with Manatee Children's Services. You told me that this mission gave you language, perspective, and proof that stories like yours don't have to end in silence, which we were just talking about this. So what changed the day you realized that your story had use and that you were not ruined?
Well, it was actually a Facebook post. It was after all the whole Epstein and everything came out and everybody was posting on Facebook. There was a brother-in-law of mine that made a comment on one of the posts and said something about, if it was 20 years ago, why is she just now talking about it? Yeah. And that really ate at me for a while. I was like, I don't like that, because my story, it's been a long time since my story happened, but I didn't know it happened for 20 years almost. Just because there's no reason to invalidate someone. So I took that and it pissed me off.
Yes.
To a point where I was like, you know what? 20 years is nothing. Let's tell every story. I don't care how old it is. I don't care. If you feel like it's time to tell your story, it's time to tell your story.
That's right. Yeah, you just need the courage for it. And to put into perspective for anybody who is listening and may have had that frame of mind in the past, I am 47 years old, and I was abused for the first time at the age of 8. That was almost 40 years ago. I still think about it. It still affects some of the choices and the decisions that I make. And it still affects some of the relationships that I have. And the reason it takes us so long to say things is A, people don't believe us. B, they don't do anything about it. Or C, we're told that now we're damaged, we're ruined, we're broken, or it was our fault in some way or another.
Exactly.
So there are lots of reasons why people choose
to wait so long.
Yes. And usually it's somebody being brave enough, like us having this conversation right now, to stand up and say, you know what? I'm raising my hand. That happened to me too.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully that is what continues to build off of this, because I have a photography business. I've had it for almost a decade now, and none of my clients ever knew anything like this. None of my friends ever knew anything like this. This is the second podcast now. The first podcast aired and I sent it to friends and family, and they have all treated me differently. I knew it was going to happen. I called it when in the podcast, actually, because we talked about how family and friends treat you different once they know your story. And it all just completely lined right up.
Yeah. Are you all right?
Oh, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine. It's expected, but hopefully those are growing pains, or not hopefully. I know that those kinds of things are growing pains, because although those people saw my story and decided that ostracization was the best route, other people are going to see it and it's going to resonate, and they're going to want to speak up. They're going to want to tell their stories, and it's just going to continue to spread.
Yeah. Some of that is they're holding up a mirror and they're either recognizing that they knew and did nothing about it, or they should have known and done something about it, or they have their own traumas, because you and I both know that when you're in that environment, a whole bunch of you, right, we're going through all the things.
Yeah.
Yes. So that generational, it's so funny. Somebody said to me the other day something about getting, like, they didn't understand how somebody got drugs, or I don't remember the exact context, but I'm like, because they live by a bunch of people who do drugs and by drug dealers. Like, you are, like, a product of your environment until you choose to remove yourself from the environment, or somebody comes and saves you and removes you, right? And then sometimes that's not good either, because there's a different type of abuse on the other side, and then they have to go through a different type of trauma, or society doesn't accept them, like all the people in the foster care system, or they get turned 18 and then they get kicked out to the curb because they're just now expected to just figure it out when no one's like showing them a way the whole time. It's so interesting to me how little we see our children. Like, we don't pay that much attention unless they are awesome athletes, or they're really academic, or they're...
It's because some parents have children with the idea that the children are an extension of their world and not an adjustment to their world.
Yes, that's very true. That's very true. And sometimes we only see our own children, right? We don't see what's going on with other children. If we would just pay more attention, there are a lot of things that we could do that could help a lot of people not have to go through those things. And well-adjusted adults is a very important thing for our society to function healthily.
I think the biggest thing that we could all do to help all the way around would be consideration. People have a big problem now with being very inconsiderate of others, whether that be on the road and people are horrible drivers, or just like in general, people don't consider other people.
Yes.
Consideration is the biggest skill that humanity lacks right now.
I completely agree. Like, please, Jesus, if one more person listens to their phone without headphones sitting next to me at the airport, I am going to snap. It is happening.
Consideration for other people.
Yes.
Out the door.
Yeah, just what I'm like, what is going on? Do you not see 100 people sitting here? Like, put some headphones on.
Everyone's so drawn into their own world. They don't consider others.
Yeah, it's like it all just disappears. And our phones have played a massive role in that. And I can be guilty of getting sucked into my phone as well. But I do wear headphones. Yeah. And I sit in one spot and I don't stand in the middle. I don't stand in the middle of the place. And I certainly don't drive like a maniac, but I know exactly what you mean. It's like, if you go around the ramp one more time to get one more car in front of me, I may lose my mind. Very, very true. So you said, and you mentioned this a little bit earlier, that you grew up in a Pentecostal environment where questioning was not encouraged. And I completely appreciate the religious undertone. I almost feel like small towns religion, a bar, and church is like, that's what it is. It's like churches, bars, and then everyone going to church, but then doing the bad things. And then like, but all the decisions are like built around religion. You gave yourself permission to question everything and rebuild your beliefs from the ground up. What did you end up finding after you did that work?
I think all of that was just falling into consideration, actually. I was raised Pentecostal. I was raised very do unto others as you would have others do unto you. And I started to kind of question when I saw a bunch of like, the people that'll go out and be like, Jesus, come to our church. Here's a picket sign. You're going to hell if you don't, that would like sit outside the bars and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's just not cool. Like, who decided that they were right?
Right.
Who decided that that was the right religion? Who's to say that this isn't?
Yes.
Because if you were raised Pentecostal and then you pick up the Quran and you start reading through that, there's so many philosophies that are so very similar. Who's to say that I have the authority or the knowledge to know which of these divine figures is actually the divine figure? So Christianity is supposed to be all about treating people
with grace and acceptance.
Exactly like that.
So it's not.
It's not. It's sometimes, it's very, come here. This is the right way. Let us save you. Or you're going to get saved this way, not that way. When in reality, I think church is really great because it gives people a reason to uphold morals. It gives you rules. It gives you a reason, because if you don't this, then you'll go to hell. If you do this, you're going to go to hell. It gives you a reason to be a good person. So I think that my exploration with that led me to the belief that the religion is within you.
Yes.
Because you know how being raised Christian, you're told to trust. Just have trust in God, that God, everything's going to work out. You're going to pray and things are going to happen. But what happens if you give yourself that belief?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Instead of saying, oh, mighty person in the air floating around, I trust you. What if you gave that trust to yourself?
Mm-hmm.
I think that religion is a really great thing. It's really great for a lot of people, but I think that one of its purposes was to take the divine out of us.
Mm-hmm. It's so interesting that you say that. I feel very similarly to you. I used to tell my children that all the time. I'm like, there's no way that one religion got it all right. Like, it's just somebody's interpretation based on their own unique experiences that said, this is what I believe this to mean, and these are the rules we're going to follow. And I agree that it does give us a moral compass. I absolutely believe in God, universe, divine, but I also believe that I am divinely made and that power is within me, and it's my job to connect that to my external life, right? So, but it all starts with me. I 100% agree with that philosophy. I still pray. I pray like nobody's business.
Yeah.
I was just saying, it was so interesting. This morning I had different pants on when I was on the other interview, but this is the weirdest thing. I have something in my pocket. I reach into my pocket. I pulled out this little plastic figurine, and it's Jesus with his arms spread wide open, and he's wearing a sash, and it says, Jesus loves you. I'm like, where in the world did this come? Where did this come from? Like, I don't remember ever collecting it. I don't remember being a place that it was given to me, but there it was in my pocket. And I was like, oh, well, that's just my message for the day, that I am loved. I am held. I am deserved. I am worthy. And I'm going to go do good work today. So I put them up on my little shelf, and I was like, I'll let your arms bring me to love, Jesus. We'll do it. That would be great. So you wrote one sentence at the end of your story that I want every person listening to today to hear in your own voice. And these are the words you said. You said, my story did not start the way I thought it did, but I get to decide how it continues. For the woman listening right now who just found out her own story is not what she thought it was, what do you need her to know?
You get to decide what it is. Not the memories, not the cold sweats, not the voices, not anything. You get to decide what it is, and you get to decide where to take it.
100% agree with all of that. So before we wrap up, I have 3 signature questions that I ask every guest at the end. So what does the unbreakable advantage mean to you, Chasity?
It means that we get to take what was given to us and mold it into what we want it to be. We get to take it and use it as power to shine light into the places that are too dark for others and where people don't know how to light their own light. We can help with that.
I love that. Yes, always carry a torch, because sometimes all people need is a spark.
And sometimes you need to burn it down.
Very true. Very, very true. I like that. What did you have to let go of to become who you are today?
Everything that I thought I knew. What do you mean what I let go of?
You're like,
okay, well, maybe not everything. I can still outfish just about any man out there.
I love it.
I held on to my roots, but I had to let go of the notion that it was my fault, that any of it was because of me. I let go of holding on and trying to figure out what went wrong. That's not my problem. Everything that happened. It sucks. It can't be changed, but we can move forward in a way to make sure that these things don't happen again.
Yes. Completely appreciate that, and do our best to protect our children so they never have to experience what we experienced. What do you still need to let go of to become who you want to be tomorrow?
Probably a bit of anger, honestly. There's a little bit of anger there, just around the whole situation. And I think that needs to be let go of. I think part of that is because I'm such a calm person. I'm very relaxed, very patient, very not angry. So it's a very confusing feeling for me because I don't hold a lot of anger. I don't hold a lot of resentment. I'm very good at letting things go. But there are parts of it that are still really hard to just not be angry about, especially now as a mom. doing my own thing.
Yeah. I feel like letting go of anger, if it's consuming you, is really important. But I also believe there is some ammunition or a little bit of gunpowder and lead behind some righteous anger. Because if there wasn't a strong feeling associated with what happened to you, and also I'm saying this for myself, I would be less likely to be taking the action that I am
Yeah.
today. And I truly do believe that these conversations are necessary for change.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how the hell we're going to get there. And it's my coaches tell me this. They said, as long as you know your why, the how is not your business.
Exactly.
So, and that is like one of the best things. I know my why inside and out, and the how will happen the way it's supposed to.
We'll get there.
That's exactly right. Is there anything else you want to share with the listeners today before we wrap up?
Not that I can think of.
How can they find you? How can they support Manatee Children's Services? And what does that support do for the kids that you're advocating for?
Well, I'm on social media as Chasity Nicole. That's just me, my middle name. MCS is incredible. They've been around for 50 years. They do top to bottom trauma with kids. So we do prevention, we do intervention, and then we do treatment afterwards. We have emergency shelters for kids. We have shelters where kids can come and age out of our programs. So they can stay with us long-term, short-term. We get whatever help they need. We have programs for families to be reunified if that looks good. We have therapy for parents that have offended to try to help bring them back to earth. MCS, though, they're not very big. They're not very known. They've been around for 50 years, but they do work that's dirty work. So it's not like something that's going to be in the news or, people just really talk a lot about out loud. So for them, they just need visibility. So like their Facebook page, follow them on social media. A lot of times, and then we can say goodbye, but I just want to say this because I'm on a bunch of boards for at-risk youth programs as well, because obviously it's important for me, for them to have what they need to try to stabilize their life in any way that we can and give them as many tools as possible to be successful moving forward. But there are so many people right now who may be listening to this who know they want to help, and you want to do something. Maybe you are somebody who has held that secret in for a long time, but you now maybe don't ever want to share, and that is your choice, but you want to give back to someone who has been through something. These in our own backyard are, in what I've seen, the best ways to either invest your time, your talent, or your treasure. It can be something as simple as cleaning out your closet and giving it to a donation center so they can sell those things you're not using anymore to fund programs and services that they need, to volunteering your time to paint a classroom, to show up and deliver goods, give them a Thanksgiving dinner. So many of these young children don't even get to experience holidays. They don't have food, they don't have clothes, they don't have shelter. Some become teen moms, they don't have clothes for their babies, they don't have diapers. And then if nothing else, if what you want to give is money, I would strongly encourage you to find something that aligns with your soul and something that is near and dear to something you have experienced or been through, or someone you know or loved has been. It has been wonderful having you today here, Chasity. I adore you. Thank you so much for having me.
Quietly confident, and I love it. So we'll definitely have lunch again soon.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to enjoy this episode. Until then, keep becoming.
You showed up today, and that already says something about who you are. If this episode moved you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe wherever you listen and connect with me on LinkedIn and Instagram. We were not broken. We were being built. Until next week, keep becoming.